Everybody, welcome back to our channel. My name is Cam.
I'm Rue.
And in today's topic, we're going to do things a little differently. Obviously, you don't see us in the normal location, and that's for a reason. The topic that we're even going to talk about is very different. It's something that we talked about in our first video, right? Remember the introduction, how we talked about he and I came from a very strong, religious, conservative background. We're going to get into a little bit of that today. That will help you to understand where a lot of our beliefs have come from and why a lot of our new beliefs are replacing a lot of our old limiting beliefs, okay? So in today's video, we're going to talk about what our experience with religion has taught us, right? Some of the positives, some of the negatives. But the reason why we're not doing it in our normal location, this is a very sensitive topic. We get very passionate about this.
Of course.
So instead of staying inside and staying claustrophobic, we're going to take it outside. We're going to take you on a little journey, right? So you can be a part of our journey.
Into nature.
All right, stay tuned. So one of the biggest things that being in a religion has taught me since I was a child was a sense of discipline and commitment. And these are not two things that I actually thought of that I was learning as a kid, but I see now how it incorporated these values in me. It gave me a sense of discipline in the fact that I, every single weekend, woke up with my family to attend services with the rest of the people in the congregation. Throughout the year, there were different religious holidays that we would keep, and in doing so, you had to be able to prepare for them, to know what different types of dates to prepare for, right? Because there are times where you have to be able to prepare for the holidays. You need to be able to take time off work to be able to attend these events. It also taught me a sense of being able to discipline myself, be able to create a set routine, a set schedule, so that over time, this sense of structure, this sense of routine developed a strong sense of discipline in me. And now I don't tend to have such issues with creating schedules, creating routines in my life because of that one thing that happened. So one other big thing that it brought into my life was a sense of a moral compass, you know? Just being able to tell or being able to deliberate from what is good, what is bad, what is right, and what is wrong. And that was basically how I learned how to treat people based on what my perception of what right or wrong was. And at the same time, I know that can be skewed. I know I'm not always perfect with that. But what I realized is try to treat people, and we always try to go by the golden rule, right? Treat people as how you would like to be treated. So if there was ever a time where I would see someone in need or something, if there was ever a time where I felt like, how would I feel if I was in that person's shoes? That was a value that was incorporated because of my religious upbringing, because of my background, because once again of that golden rule. Treat people how you would want to be treated. And the last thing that religion has taught me, or at least has helped me with, was a sense of having lifelong friends. A lot of my core friends, my core group, my social circle, they're people that I've met when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school. I can't tell you some of the different experiences that we've all been through just because I've known these people for so long. But at the same time, because I've known them for so long, I've developed that strong friendship, that strong bond that I've been with this person through some of the most positive experiences and through some of the most negative experiences. That built a sense of trust and camaraderie. And that just won't go away because of any other life stresses, right? That's something that's almost cemented. Anything in life can happen, we know that. But at the same time, I feel like I can work through these problems with these people because I had them, because we all came from that same similar background, that same core belief helped to guide me. That, you know, you are the average sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time around, right? So just having these people in my life, it definitely gave me a sense of familiarity, a sense of longing, a sense of belonging and being in a group. And because of that, I'm eternally grateful for the people that I have in my life.
Now, talking about religion, one thing I can say as a positive thing is that from any denomination you're from, there's a sense of morale. Like we're the chosen ones. Like we were put on this earth to do this, that, and the third, right? So it gives you a sense of pride, which makes you want to do yourself more of a service, right? You probably think to yourself, well, I won't engage in that negative activity because, you know, I'm the chosen one, or I'm from this sect, or I'm from this tribe, wherever it might be. Religion gives you a sense of purpose, a sense of pride that comes with purpose. In the end, it prevents you from acting a certain way and doing certain negative deeds, right? So that can be a positive in certain ways. right? Say, for example, a lot of times my friends would get into these negative fights or get locked up. But I wasn't me because I had to be home before sunset to keep the Sabbath. So that sense of discipline, that sense of what you would say like religious morale, gave me a sense of purpose, and in the end, gave me a sense of morality, and which I can attest to today. Another positive thing I can say about my experience with religion is it taught me to value not superficial things like cars or money, more to value things of more wholesome value like family, your faith, doing good deeds, things of that nature, right? So when it comes to, when you're adult or when you're in life as it is, right, you get a lot of temptation. And some of those things make you want to sacrifice your moral beliefs, right? But having a strong sense of morality that religion, I felt, taught me, gave me a sense to turn down those, temptations that other people might fall for, right? Because they're taught to value those things, taught to value luxury, taught to value the finer things in life, which I think we all should have. But putting that above your morals and your faith, that's something we're taught not to do. I have to say one of the most important thing, actually the most important thing that religion taught me was the power of belief. Whether you believe in something that's false or true, just the belief in it can inspire you or push you to do things that you would normally do just by believing it, right? And that belief can be a positive thing, or also can be a negative thing, right? So if you believe these limited belief systems, it can hold you back in life, right? But if you start to believe in positive things, it can excel you tremendously. You see all these athletes and celebrities always give praise, give glory to God, right? To Allah, to Jehovah, whatever entity or being or creator they believe in. They give faith to them, right? But these are all separate ideologies, identities. So how come what all they have in common is belief? Just that power of belief can excel you to places you never thought you'd go. And that's the power of the mind ultimately. So I think one of the most important experiences that religion has taught me personally was the power of belief.
So one of the biggest things, one of the things that I only noticed later on in my 30s was that it gave me a limited perception of the world. And when I think of the world, I think of this big, magnificent orb. So it gave me a very limited perception of how things really are, how things really operate in this world. I was kind of just so used to my own little bubble. I was so used to things being one way, or only seeing the world and people in one way, to the point where I would go out sometimes in public and then just kind of be blown away by some of the little things that I wasn't used to. Maybe seeing different social groups interact in a certain way, hearing different types of music, getting used to different cultures. That was huge for me. Going to college for the first time was a huge culture shock for me because I was so used to being in a very small one-room private school. Okay, so going to college for the first time, I was petrified. I didn't know what to really just put me in a small little bubble, a small little shell that if I had not been in that, maybe I could have been exposed to more, maybe I could have matured a little bit more growing up. I don't know. So that was one drawback. One of the biggest setbacks in being in a religion is the fact that there will be social isolation. You will be so used, or at least I was so used to being in a certain social circle, being around certain friends, and people that I would see almost every day, every week, and not being used to seeing anything outside of that, a very us versus them mentality. Until I finally got my first job, until I finally went to college, until I finally started working in the career that I'm at now. And life is a process, right? I'm continuing to experience new things. Before that, it was almost like I never knew what life was like outside of that. I didn't understand other people's cultures. I lacked empathy. I didn't really understand what it would be like things on a Friday night because I was always at home. This is just my way of saying, like, I did not have the social skills growing up. I lacked the ability to even engage in conversation with larger groups. I lacked the ability to understand where other people were coming from. I lacked sympathy. I lacked empathy. I lacked a lot of the things that I now strive for and I now uphold in my character. But it was all because that was all I knew. That was all I knew at the time. And you can only go by what you know. So I've been able to experience more out of this world, and I've been able to experience more of people's characters, good or bad. We're all a work in progress. But because of that isolation before, because I was so in my own bubble, in my own world, couldn't experience anything outside of that. And now I see that there's way much more. There's way more to life than what I had given myself credit for. One of the most important things that I taught was how to be aware of manipulation tactics. Those are some of the biggest experiences that I had gone through as a child, was realizing that the way that you learn to influence and manipulate people is by controlling or having some part of their emotion. And one of the biggest emotions how you learn how to influence is by fear. I always felt as if I was getting in trouble for something. I always felt like I had to look over my shoulder because I might not be doing the right thing, right? I constantly felt as if I wasn't living up to a certain standard. And you know, being sometimes in religion, you have very high standards of how you should live your life, of how a human being should be. So I constantly felt afraid as a child. I constantly kind of felt on edge, walking on eggshells, never feeling like I'm doing the right thing. That definitely took a toll on my self-esteem and just my whole outlook of myself. But because in today's day and age, I tend to learn more, I tend to know more about these tactics. And in a way, I'm kind of glad that happened to me. The one that does happen to me,
Go!
I see you coming from a mile away.
I think one of the very clever things that religion is able to employ is cognitive distortions. Now, many of you ask, what does that mean? Say you see something wrong with how the preacher is saying something. Say you see some hypocrisy in an organization. No, that's not what you're seeing. What you're seeing is you're being possessed by the devil, by a demon, right? It's not there's any flaw with us, it's a flaw with you, right? And that's able to manipulate people to a point where it's become gaslighting, right? And sometimes people have permanent psychological damage from that. Right? The positive things about that is also now I'm aware to that. So with great harm comes great responsibility. I believe that as well. So cognitive distortions, be aware. One of the biggest things that religion, a negative thing about religion, is they will distort your perception on reality, right? So for example, say you want something desirable, like you want that good-looking woman or you want that nice car. That's sinful. That's vanity. Now, I admit you shouldn't desire those things ultimately as being something that's high above all your morals and wholesome values, but at the same time, it isn't wrong to desire those things. That's human nature. But religion, sometimes they implement this distort of reality to control you, right? Because if you want those things, you're a bad person. If you want those things, you're an evil person. Because sometimes to get those things, you need to step outside the thinking of religion, outside the thinking of the leadership or the organization. They don't want that. So to control you, they can control your emotions, make you feel bad, make you feel evil. For me personally, I desired to look a certain way, right? I desired to trim up my face, get a nice little haircut, but that was evil. That was wrong. Maybe it is, but I don't think so. I think it was a control tactic because they didn't want me to leave. They wanted me to stay. So from my personal experience, that was one of the things I had to mentally break from. I had to discover that myself, the research, to looking deep into myself, that wasn't evil, right? And that is an important thing that you guys should understand the value, the importance of belief. But it simultaneously also divided people, right? If you didn't believe exactly the way we believe, you couldn't be a part of us, right? If you didn't create this exact same ritual, tradition, you're not one of us, right? We're going to exclude you, we're going to shun you, we're going to make you feel terrible about yourself. Like, us as humans, we naturally want to be part of the circle. We naturally want to be part of the herd, right? We don't like isolation naturally, right? So that's another control tactic to use. If you're not going to be a part of us, you can't be with us at all, right? And from time to time, that would break a family. Family is one of those things that we have for life. Those are being broken up because of religion, because of the extreme view that if you don't believe exactly what we believe, if you don't do exactly what we do, if you don't have the same exact tie, shirt, shoes, you're not one of us. And that's a dangerous mindset. Because from different views come different perspectives. But from different perspectives comes change and growth. And they don't want that, right? Me and my friend Cam, we don't actually believe in exactly the same thing. That's a good thing, because we can have from different perspectives. But one of those negative things about religion is breaking up families. And that's something I do not support. That's not the way that we should do things. You're wrong, I'm right. You there. You sit down. You shut up. You do as I say. No, that's not the way you do things. I'm more important. I'm just an instrument of divine. Not what I say is the words of my own, but from a greater purpose. You there. Shine my shoes. You there. Fetch my bread. You there. You have no value at all. I am supreme because I was chosen by the divine one. Everything we do, everything we speak, everything we believe is in the mind. The way we translate Bibles, the way we sing songs, the way we eat certain foods, the way we play with kids, all has a certain identity. All that bleeds within the modern day. Typically within religion, the pastor, the pope, whoever is the leader of the congregation tells you it's from the Bible. So you might think you're serving the one above, but you might be serving the one below, because that's the reality of these situations about religion. It becomes one man's ideology. It makes everything about that person. It makes you believe that it's all about the collective. But when you start to break it down to science, you realize that person's background, their belief system, how they're taught, their parenting, all bleeds into how to decipher the scriptures. So be aware of that. One negative, biggest negative thing about religion, it becomes one man's band. Yeah, so guys, today we want to talk about our past experience with religion, right? This video is not about to be like it's good or bad. It's more so about our experience. And make you guys aware of what we went through and help you guys on your path of religion, right? We believe that religion can help people, but at the same time, a negative religion can also hurt people, right? When it comes down to it, it's all about belief system. Because your belief system determines your destiny.
And you guys, if any of you could relate to some of the things that we were talking about, if you grew up in a very strict, religious, militant background, I'm sure some of the stuff that we went through, you also went through too, or maybe are going through right now. So feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, but especially comment. We want to hear some of your experiences as well. We want to, because a lot of us come from different walks of life, like you brought
Absolutely.
up, but a lot of us have those similarities that we all go through. And those experiences that we went through as a child, those experiences that we went through all through our 20s actually, and some people are still in it. Those things brought us up into who we are today.
Yep.
They allowed us to make content like this for you guys. They allowed us to be able to break free from some of our limiting beliefs and become the people that we are today. So
Absolutely.
It's not positive or negative. It just is what it is. You
Yep.
make the best of it. You are always in your prime. It is a mindset. Remember that. So my name is Cam.
I'm real.
And this is another episode of In Your Prime. We'll see you next time.